everyone, and welcome to a very special show. This is My Sachin. It's not just about the record breaker, not just about the great man, but about the person that he is. It's going to be great fun. I'm Tina, with me is Anand.
Yes, and let's bring in the man who's not just the voice of Indian cricket, but also the man who knows Sachin Tendulkar best. He's our special guest on this very, very special effort. From the start to the finish, as Sachin Tendulkar blazed the trail,
Gets it!
this voice
First man on the planet to reach 200.
has echoed his greatness.
From India, Sachin Tendulkar.
No one knows Sachin better.
From 147. Take a bow, master.
The one and only voice of Indian cricket, Ravi Shastri, right here on Times Now. Hello, Ravi Shastri. Shaz, how does it feel counting down to 200?
Well, it's an emotional feeling. It's it's a moment that one should celebrate, more than anything else, because he'll be the first human being to play 200 Test matches, and he couldn't have written a better script. He ends where he started. His first-class career, which is Mumbai, at the same ground, will also witness his 200 Test match. So, like I mentioned, come what may, doesn't matter how many runs he gets or what he does. It's a moment just to go out there and celebrate.
All right, Ravi, we've also got an absolutely star-studded lineup joining you here on the show today. Let's tell you who will be joining us. We're going to have two of Sachin Tendulkar's closest friends with us. That's Zaheer Khan and Harbhajan Singh, two of cricket's biggest fans. Arbaz Khan and Aftab Shivdasani joining us. Also superstar John Abraham, Sania Mirza and Clive Lloyd. No lineup like this one right here on My Sachin.
But also, let's welcome a very good friend, an adversary, and also a living legend in cricket itself, joining us on this very special effort.
Okay, so we're talking about a legend. We have a legend with us in the studio. We have another legend talking. Tell us what it feels like, first of all, to know that Sachin is now counting down to what will be his last match.
I think you just have to reminisce on what a great career he's had. 24 years playing international cricket. The dedication, the discipline that is needed to go through that period of time. It's testimony to the strength of the individual. It's going to be a wonderful occasion over the next 5 days. I feel honored that it's a West Indies team that he's playing against, even though Kolkata wasn't that impressive, but hopefully the guys can put up a good fight, a good, tough game for him over the next 5 days.
Listen, who's listening to you? It's Ravi Shastri also joining us at this point. Shaz, you're hearing what Lara said. If you remember 2011, Sachin was in 99 international terms. It was against the West Indies. It was the Wankhede. He scored 94. Those memories coming back. Will he do better? Will he sign off in style?
Well, with great players, you should never, put it beyond them to write their own script. He might be playing his 200 Test matches. He might be having the nerves which one would expect, in the sense that they will be jangling. He's playing in front of his home crowd, but he's been a champion, and he's played like a true champion for 24 long years. And don't put it beyond him to come out there smoking. What I would have liked is, instead of Brian sitting in the studio, Brian out there for the West Indies. And what a sight that would have been. Lara, Tendulkar in the same Test match together, and Tendulkar finishing off. And maybe Lara going on to play another 6-8 months.
He is thinking about it. You didn't think about that, did you?
I did think about it. It'd be lovely to have on the whites tomorrow, Ravi. It's an awesome occasion for any West Indian cricketer. Hopefully, someone that looks slightly like me, Darren Bravo, could take my place and maybe score 100. You never know. But I'll be watching from the stands, and it's been a privilege to have walked on the same field as Sachin, sometimes walking next to him, as I did in the Sky Dome in Canada, I did at the Oval in England. He's been just a true champion and a very good friend of mine as well.
But in terms of personal interaction, what was your first interaction with him, and what was the first impression?
Well, we first spoke in Canada, a rest of the world team versus the West Indies. Viv Richards was the captain of my team, and we were two youngsters.
Right.
So obviously we hit it off pretty quickly, and we became very good friends. We also played in the World Cup 1992 in Australia against each other. But again, being the youngsters in the team, the relationship just grew from there. And then we batted with each other in Canada against Pakistan. And we had a wonderful 200-run partnership that we still speak about, playing against Waqar and Wazim and Imran Khan.
Well, you know, it's been an absolute pleasure to watch both of you play. You've often been compared, as you know very well. And we have one of your greatest fans joining us in the studio right now. So let's welcome Arbaz Khan.
Brian Lara, Sachin Tendulkar, two dabang players. Did that inspire Arbaz? We'll ask him that. But first, let's talk about the man who's going to step out to play his final innings at the Wankhede come the 14th of November, Sachin Tendulkar. It's not just your calls, your mails, our experts in the studio, but we have also got fans connecting with us through Radio Mirchi, our partner and friends from across 5 to 6 cities in the country. We've got them joining us from Bangalore, Mumbai, Chennai, Ahmedabad and Bhopal. Before we ask our guests in the studio, should go across to Shaz, Tina. Right?
Absolutely, he's got lots to say. And Shaz, like you said, you know, it's going to be a momentous occasion as soon as Sachin walks out there at the Wankhede. Fitting finale, absolutely, for him at home. But, you know, there's been so much focus on the fact that this is his last match. How is he going to approach it? We know he's tried to keep the focus entirely on cricket.
Yes, the nerves will be jangling, but with great players, 10 minutes at the crease, if he times a couple that goes to the boundary like he did in Kolkata, he might want a little bit of more luck than he had in Kolkata. Things could be different, because once you're out there in the middle, he's playing his 200 test match, he'll be immune to what's happening around him. And as long as he sees the ball and plays it on merit and plays naturally and freely, I don't think there should be any problem whatsoever.
Memories of your last match out, and also I've always been wanting to ask you and Sachin this: when do you know it's going to be a good day out on the field? You're going to get the runs.
It depends on the work you do off the field. And in preparation, Sachin, I'm sure, is going to prepare himself like he's done for all the test matches that he's played. And if he feels confident before the game, you never know, that could be transferred onto the field over the next 5 days. It's his last match. There's a lot of extra pressure that is going to be placed on him. Maybe on him, he would do it personally for himself. And you never know what the result is going to be. But I think that's secondary to the fact that what he has given us over the last 24 years. He's just got to go out there and enjoy himself. Not too much pressure. Go out, playing against a good team, the West Indies. But I believe that at the Wankhede Stadium, he can pull out something very special.
And what about your last match, like he said? What were you thinking?
Impromptu.
Was it?
At the World Cup, yes. I was at the World Cup, looking forward to getting into the semi-finals or into the finals. We were playing at home. And by the time the last match of the second round came around with England, we were out of the World Cup by then, and I called it a day. I thought it was the right time to do it for the betterment of West Indies cricket.
Okay.
Had a pretty young team, needed a young leader to take them forward, and I wanted to put my energy into something else.
There's a reason why we're calling this show My Sachin Arbaz, because we're going to ask you to talk about your Sachin while you're sitting next to Brian Lara. So it's the fan who's going to talk today.
I'm a great admirer of him. In fact, I've been a great fan of his too for the longest time.
You can tell him that.
I met him once before, and I told him, and I was so happy. In fact, when I got to know that he's going to be on the show, I was like, all the more reason I should be here and speak about Sachin and then be so close to such a living legend. Amazing.
So now tell us what is going on in your mind as you see the other great man signing on.
Well, first and foremost, it's like happiness and sadness in many ways. Happiness for the fact that Sachin has given us such amazing cricket for such a long period of time. He's entertained us by such, and he's been a role model. He's been inspirational. He's been in so many ways great for the game of cricket, and not just about how he's conducted himself on the field. Even the kind of life that he's had outside the field has also been very great. So that makes him a very, very amazing sports personality and a person, which is great. And sad that we're never going to probably see him on international cricket ever again play, don the cricket gear ever again. So we're going to savor and relish this last test match that we're going to see, and I think we have all prepared for it, so it makes it all the more better, because there have been, maybe Sachin is an exception, but there have been a lot of cricketers who've gone pretty without much fanfare, or have been dropped from the team and never got a kind of a retirement or the kind of exit that they
but this
longed
is Sachin.
for. But this is
the
Sachin,
legacy
yeah.
is going to remain forever. I mean,
Forever.
cricket is never going to be played without a mention of his name. Also joining us now is film superstar and a well-known sports buff, John Abraham. John, thanks very much for joining us. Now, Sachin is bidding adieu after serving the nation for 24 years. As you see this, what is running through your mind? We know you've been watching him for all these years too.
Well, I belong to the generation that's grown up watching Tendulkar bat, and I still remember when he got out. I belong to that generation that shut off the TV when he got out. So, I think I am a lucky generation that's got the opportunity to watch Tendulkar bat. I don't think the generation after me is going to have that opportunity. But I think, I believe that all good things come to an end, and Sachin Tendulkar retiring was inevitable, and that's exactly what's happening now. I wish him all the best. I've had the honor of meeting him and speaking with him, and the personality makes him all the more special to people who really know him closely. I've had the opportunity of meeting him just once.
Well said there, John. But what do you think is the most defining factor about Sachin that sets him apart from the rest?
His consistency, number one. Sachin Tendulkar's, he's been very clear from the start, he's a team player. He doesn't play for himself, he plays for the country. And be it any interview, be it any game, you know that he's the most unselfish person out there. So I think that's, and for me, that's the single most reason why Tendulkar's lasted so long. Because when you think India, you think Sachin Tendulkar. And you always know Sachin Tendulkar is doing something for India. There is nothing, today when you look around, when you want national treasures of this country, I think Sachin Tendulkar is the national treasure of India, because he symbolifies what India is about. He symbolifies unity.
Now, Ravi, you're somebody who's actually known him the longest. You've known him right from the start. First impressions, did you know he was special immediately? And really memories that stand out now in your mind after 24 years? Shaz, the question was for you. 24 years, memories that stand out, and first impressions of Sachin?
Well, the memories that stand out would be actually the first impression, that I got of him. Because he came across as someone, immensely passionate about the game. He was only 16. So, you were actually afraid, what's going to happen to this kid when he's thrown at the deep end. And when you watched him play that first test match, I think that was the only time in his career in that first innings where he might have just looked out of place. And for the simple reason, you can't blame him. Here's a teenager, just 16 years, and thrown up at the deep end against Wasim, Imran and Waqar. And he seemed to be in a hurry. He seemed to be carrying on that school cricket, whatever first-class cricket he had played, into the test match arena. And he realized very quickly, that he had to take his time, he had to respect the conditions, at the highest level. And what amazed me was how quickly he started shifting gears. In a year and a half's time, he had got 100 in England. And by the time he was batting opposite me in a 200-run partnership, 198 200-run partnership at the SCG, you saw him blossoming into a great player. The 148 he got there, he had shifted at least 4 gears from the time he played his first test match and was already being talked about as one of the best players in the world. So that's how quick his transition was. And of course, memories would be of real champagne batting from him would be the 2 one-day hundreds he got against Australia back-to-back in Sharjah.
Yes.
I don't think I've seen him batting better than in that period between 96 and 99. And of course, that series against South Africa in 2010, where, the tracks did a bit. His innings in Cape Town was simply unbelievable. And he was pushing 40 by then. He was about 37 years of age, where the ball did all sorts of things. And he might have been beaten 20 times in the day, where he refused to take his bat out to, towards the ball, the bat stayed there, the ball went past the outside edge. But every loose delivery, he put away to the boundary. I think he ended up getting 146 or 148, an innings that stood out. He got 200s in the series, and the memories could go on and on, because you're not talking 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 14 years, 18 years. You're talking 24 years in the game, and I don't think I've missed a beat. I would have watched 95% of those Sachin innings, at close quarters, either as a player or from the safe confines of a commentary box. And I'll tell you, he's given us immense enjoyment. That's why I keep saying, come what may in this test match, just let him have a chill pill, get out there and chillax.
Yeah, you mentioned the 146. What's more special, the 146 in the first innings or the 14 of 91 balls that helped India draw that test? We'll ask our experts, and also Harbhajan Singh, who joins us after a very short break. Stay with us.
Sachin, I heard him first time he was singing songs, and we were sitting there till, I guess, 3 in the morning and singing songs. It was brilliant. Really loved it. Enjoyed it.
Back live on this very, very special broadcast. We've got Brian Lara, Arbaz Khan with us in the studio. Ravi Shastri already with us. But joining us now from Jalandhar is a very, very special guest.
That's right, Harbhajan Singh now joining us. Bhaji, you're a great friend of Sachin, so we expect you to tell us a lot about him, the person. But first, tell us what it was like for you to join the team when he's already a legend. He's this huge icon. You're a youngster. He took youngsters like you under his wing and mentored you. What was it like for you?
Well, obviously, it's been a great pleasure alongside with the great guy like him. He's someone who can, lift you from any situation, whatever you're feeling at that point of time. I remember meeting him for the first time was in Chandigarh when I was bowling at the nets, and actually I was called to bowl in the nets to the Indian team. And for me, to see all these guys in front of me was a dream come true. Meeting Sachin was something really special, which I'll never forget. I see all the big names like Sachin, Azharuddin, and Anil Kumble, and so on. Everybody was there. But I remember Sachin giving me advice: just continue to work hard. Hopefully, one day, your dreams will. You'll achieve your dreams.
Penny, for your thoughts, Shaz, you've been smiling ever since Harbhajan's been speaking about how Sachin's been helping him.
No, I've been smiling because, Bhaji is one of the great characters who played for India. And he said, like, when he first bowled to these, when he saw the Indian team, it was like a dream come true. I promise you, each one of them, after 5 years seeing him in the dressing room and playing with him, it must be a dream come true for them also to know Harbhajan Singh at close quarters, because he was a character and a half, and played exceptionally well for India. And you said, I know Sachin Tendulkar the best. No, it's between Zach and Bhaji. They will know more about Sachin Tendulkar than anybody else, let me assure you.
Absolutely, and we have Zach joining us in just a few minutes as well. But Brian, we're talking about Sachin the man, and you had your interactions with him. You talked about how you first met him. But if you were asked to describe him as a person, what do you know of him, and what would you say to somebody?
I think its humility stands out. I remember my sister and brother was here last September, and I got a call from Sachin, and he said to come over to his home. I've never seen my big sister and brother so excitable.
Yeah?
It was unbelievable, and we entered, and we had a wonderful hour with Sachin and his son Arjun. And they remarked on leaving. We were heading back to Trinidad, and they said, what a lovely guy. They never came anywhere close to him, but to spend that time with him was very special. And I've spent many moments with Sachin quietly in a corner.
What did you talk about?
Many different things.
Like? We want to know.
How silly people are to compare us.
Really? And we've done that all the time.
But he's been a good friend, and we've had wonderful times together off the field.
Okay, great.
Harbhajan, I'm going to ask you this. How did you and Sachin become friends? When did that start? The friendship, when did it start? How did that happen?
Well, to be honest, I was really scared to talk to him when I came into the team for the first time, and I used to just, stay away and just bowl at nets and keep looking at these guys. What do they do and how do they prepare, and how our friendship started was after that series we played against Australia 2001, where I took 32 wickets, and he asked me, what do you want? Do you want anything? Then I asked, yes, can I have a pair of spikes if you can organize from Adidas? So he's a great man. I asked for one. He got me two pair of bowling shoes, which I still have them with me, and took a lot of wickets with them. Wearing those shoes. Most times then we started talking to each other. Then I was a bit comfortable then. Then we played the World Cup, in 2003. Then, he gave us the liberty. I mean, he always gave us the liberty to talk and to do what we want to do. But we were like so shy and whether how to approach this guy. He's such a big figure. But he's very humble, great human being, and I can tell you, people know him as a cricketer, but he's the best human being I have ever met.
So as we're all getting set to say goodbye to Sachin Tendulkar, I'm sure he has a very, very special place in the hearts of fans from right here in Mumbai. Let's go across to Radio Mirchi here in Mumbai and see what the fans there are planning to do as they bid goodbye.
Yes, we are Mirchi Mumbai Man. Hi Anand, hi Tina, मैं हूँ RJ Sunita and the whole team of Mirchi Mumbai is right here. Sachin Tendulkar, we love you a lot and मुंबई की टीम मिर्चीदार obviously है, इसीलिए एक बहुत प्यारा सा गाना, इनफैक्ट बहुत सारे गाने बनाए हैं सचिन तेंदुलकर के नाम. So we're gonna start with that. 1, 2, 3, 4. तेरा मैं करूँ सजदा, क्रिकेट दा गॉड लगदा, बल्ला घुमा सोनियो, जादू चला सोनियो, आउट होने ना दे, विकेट खोने ना दे, अपने दिलों से तू जुदा होने ना दे, तू मेरा सचिन, ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ, तू मेरा सचिन.
Now, when we say my Sachin, you might think you are his biggest fan. If you want to put that to the test, you can actually call us. The numbers are flashing on your screen. Call in and we'll give you a quiz right here live.
Yes, and you can also write to us at mysachinmoment@gmail.com. As the Master Blaster prepares to sign off from the game, you can share your moment with us right here on Times Now. Here's another inspiring story of a flight lieutenant who had an unforgettable meeting with the Master.
The story of a fighter who refused to let adversity defeat him. Flight Lieutenant Parikshit Hastekar met with an air crash while serving the nation and has been in a wheelchair for the last 3 years. A resilient spirit, Parikshit is now fighting back. Getting his life back. An ardent Sachin fan, Parikshit went to see Sachin's match at Parliament in January this year. And his dreams came true when the Master came out of the pitch to speak to him and gifted him a very special cap. Sachin is a hero to billions around the world. But Flight Lieutenant Hastekar is one whom even the Master Blaster would salute.
Sachin has stood by his teammates, be it through thick or thin, and no better than Bhaji and Zach to talk about it. Plus, Sachin's best innings so far, your pick and why after a very short break.
Did your jaw drop at any point in your career and say, man, this guy is better than me? Did you ever think that?
This guy is definitely good. But I think that he spurred me on. If you needed something, that impetus to move on. Knowing that being compared with him and, he'll be playing somewhere around the world, I might be resting on the beach in the Caribbean.
Welcome back, We're talking about My Sachin, your favorite memories, your favorite memorabilia perhaps. You can call in on the show a little later on. We're talking to some of his legendary colleagues and some of his closest friends. Now let's go back to you, Shaz. You've already talked about some of the favorite innings. One of them is my favorite too, you know, after he had just sort of shed off that load of captaincy, coming out there and absolutely blazing the desert. Couple more innings that stand out in your mind, and how do you want to see him sign off?
Okay, you mentioned the 2 innings in the desert. I would say the 155 comes to my mind, you know, almost immediately in Chennai, because that turned the series around.
Yes.
He got out to Warren in the first innings cheaply and then attacked it. Really counter-attacked him, hitting him against the spin, out of the rough, you know, into the crowds, and you know, that turned the whole series on its head. I would say his double 100 in Sydney, you know, it might not have had the flamboyance of some of his other innings, but for the sheer discipline and the character he showed, you know, especially when going through a bad patch and then playing within himself and batting for that length of period, I'll put that up there. Of course, his 200s in Australia when he was very young, you know, the Sydney 100 and the Perth 100. And then there was this innings in England, which, you know, stands out to me. It was a test match with, I think India lost. It was in Edgbaston. You know, when he got 100, where the ball was keeping up and keeping low, and then the bounce was uneven, and India were in real trouble, and he counter-attacked and got a brilliant 100. There'll be plenty, you know, on the shelf there from Sachin Tendulkar. When someone's got 5100s, just to count his best 6 would be very difficult, because there'll be, you know, numerous good innings. But these are the ones that stand out. Even the other night, as I was not there, but I saw some footage of him getting 100 in Melbourne. You know, where Brett Lee was clocking 151, 152. Again, India in trouble at 70 for 6 and helping India to save the follow-on. You know, that was a tremendous counter-attacking innings. And some of his best innings have come when he's played freely and counter-attacked. You know, I feel that's been Tendulkar at his best, when he's dominated, wanted to dominate, and, you know, take the you know, batting to the opposition.
I'll ask Brian, you know, what, according to you, batsman to batsman, would you pick as Sachin's finest innings?
The best might yet to come over the next 5 days. Let's hope that he gives us a treat come this test match. But for me, I would always look at the batsman and the frame of mind that he's in. And Sachin has played a lot of spectacular innings. But the frame of mind that he most likely was in Sydney when he scored 241, having struggled throughout the series, and India in Australia 1-1 at that moment and needed to at least draw the test match to walk away with a drawn series in Australia. I believe that sort of pressure and fortitude that he showed throughout that innings was spectacular. The discipline, the commitment, not playing outside the off stump. I've seen enough shots of Sachin, so to see him with that amount of discipline and the way how he accumulated those runs, for me, that's a special innings. I would always cherish that one.
And John, you know, each of us has our favorite Sachin moment. What is yours? What's the best innings, according to you, that he's ever played in these 24 years?
His last 100 that he had scored, and I remember he looked up at the skies and it was rain at the end of a long drought spell, you know. I think that was one of the better moments. But obviously one moment that I remember, and this a lot of youngsters won't remember, was in '89. I think it was his first tour, and it was in Pakistan. I remember Waqar Yunus bowled a bouncer and it hit him on his head, and he continued to bat after that. For me, I still get goosebumps when I think of that moment, because for me, a 16-year-old kid getting hit with a ball that's going at 150 kilometers an hour and then gets up and says, no, I'm fine, I can play on, and then goes on to score a half century or a century, I'm not sure. But I still remember the bravado. You knew that you had something special coming for the next 25 years. And that's exactly what Tendulkar's done. So I'd probably rate that as the best moment of, you know, my Sachin Tendulkar career life.
Ravi, we also believe John has a question for you. So let's hear the question, John.
Again, another moment, I mean, and this goes for Ravi Shastri out there, is that, you know, we still remember one of those moments, the champion of champions, where he won a car, an Audi, and they drove around the stadium. So another pillar of Indian cricket. So the The one question I'd ask, Ravi Shastri is, because a lot of youngsters want to know this, that Sachin was challenged as far as being tall is concerned, which Ravi Shastri is, and still he managed to play the bounce so well. So if he can throw some light on what gave Sachin that edge, I'm sure youngsters would want to understand whether it was a mind game that gave him the edge, or is it technique, or is it a combination of both?
Ravi, what do you say to that?
Fantastic question, John. How's that 10-pack doing? In any case, you can answer that later. But coming to Tendulkar, and you're talking about his height, and that's what made him stand out as opposed to the rest. Very quickly you realized at a young age that this guy picked up length, as quickly as anybody else in the world. Was fearless. I think that was the key, because he was a small target. He was like a midget at times, and there was no love lost with the fast bowlers. They wanted to hit him on the head, try and injure him, and he had to come up with a ploy of how to play them, and he showed it at a very young age in that first series against Pakistan, that he's quite prepared to counter-attack. And what it did, it showed us a kind of footwork that was that had intent. It was pure. And there was no half measures. Tendulkar at his best was never caught in no man's land. That's something I saw when he was batting at his best. He was either forward or back, looking to attack, get on top of the bounce and play some shots which you won't imagine a gentleman at 5'4", who's 5'4" in height or 5'5" in height, being able to do it.
A billion fans, a billion things to say about my Sachin. Now we're going across to our friends from Radio Mirchi, who have lots of fans with them. Let's cut across to you over in Ahmedabad.
केम छो टीना, केम छो आनंद। हिंदुस्तान एक ऐसा देश जहां क्रिकेट को रिलीजन माना जाता है। क्रिकेट एक धर्म है और सचिन क्रिकेट के भगवान, क्रिकेट के गॉड। और आज जब पूरी दुनिया, पूरा देश कह रहा है कि सचिन जो है अपनी आखिरी इनिंग्स खेलने जा रहे हैं, रिटायर हो रहे हैं, लेकिन रेडियो मिर्ची 98.3 FM अहमदाबाद कहता है कि सचिन कभी रिटायर नहीं होते। आइए।
दिलों में जीत की बेताबियां लेकर खेल रहे हो तो सचिन हो तुम। नजर में जुनून की बिजलियां लेकर खेल रहे हो तो सचिन हो तुम।
हवा के झोंकों की तरह छक्के उड़ाना सीखो तुम। दरिया की लहरों की तरह चौके बहाना सीखो तुम।
हर एक गेंद को खेलो तुम, खोले अपनी बाहें। हर एक मैच में एक नया शतक, देखे ये निगाहें। तिरंगे को ऊंचा लहराने की ख्वाहिशों के साथ खेल रहे हो तुम तो सचिन हो तुम।
Let's go across to Baj and ask him, Harbhajan, two things. Your favorite Sachin innings or finest Sachin innings, and how many times have you got him out in the nets?
Well, obviously he has scored many centuries, so it's very difficult to say one or two. But for me, when I was on my first tour to Sharjah, probably those two innings against Australia was the best. I've seen him dominating the likes of Warney and all the Australian bowling lineup. And coming to the test, all his innings in Australia were brilliant. And just recent tour to South Africa, last tour against Dale Steyn and Moy Mokel, the way he batted was absolutely treat to watch. And I was in one of the innings I was batting alongside with him, and he just told me that you just continue to bat the way you want to bat, and I'll do the job. And he's amazing. I mean, his two of those innings in Sharjah and just recent tour on South Africa was something special.
Absolutely. And Brian, I have to ask you this. Forgive me for saying it, but all those comparisons, you must have obviously heard about it all the time. When you're talking about the 241, did your jaw drop at any point in your career and say, man, this guy is better than me? Did you ever think that?
This guy is definitely good. But I think that he spurred me on. If you needed something, that impetus to move on. Knowing that being compared with him, and he'll be playing somewhere around the world, I might be resting on the beach in the Caribbean and trying to get myself ready for my next series. So he spurred me on to a lot of my performances. Just trying to keep abreast with him, trying to keep up with his tempo. And he's more of a positive. And at no point in time, really, I felt that I was not as good, you know, but I knew he was very, very good. So to be there and thereabouts, crossing the line with him in people's mind together, that was actually a great feeling.
That's a great answer also. Let me just quickly go back to Bhaji on that. You know, Bhaji, all this talk, all these years about Brian Lara versus Sachin Tendulkar, where do you stand on that?
Oh, well, it's a very difficult one for me to answer, but since you know, both these players are great, and of course they have dominated throughout their careers, you know, in whatever part of the world they have played, they have dominated the whole bowling attacks, you know, they have demolished. And for me, there is no comparison. You know, they both are great and both are legends, and I've got great respect for both of them. And for Sachin, probably a little more, because I've been very close to him and spent a lot of these years. Nothing to take away from Brian. He's been brilliant. You know, enjoyed bowling against Brian, and I enjoyed playing against Brian. But yes, it's been a pleasure playing with both the legends, and for me, both of them are great.
For the for the fans, the answer is simple, isn't it? Left hand Brian Lara, right hand Sachin Tendulkar, isn't it?
If you make it that way,
yes.
definitely. But like Bhaji said, you know, it's very difficult to say between the two of them, because the difference is just marginal. It's just a matter of choice. Because I personally felt I was following Lara's career all along, and you know, I have been a huge fan of Lara's. I like Lara for the fact that he played with so much of flamboyance. There was such a great element of risk in his game that made his game very exciting to play. That's what happens with certain players, you know, when they play with that element of risk, they become very exciting to watch. And a lot of his innings have translated into victories for his, you know, for his team, for his nation. Yep. So it's been great. Some of the innings that he has played in series, which you know, everybody knows are difficult. Like in Sri Lanka, he played against Murli Dharan when Murli was at his peak. He got some 600 odd runs, you know, and the entire team in the 3 test matches just got the same amount of runs. So it's unbelievable that how great these two players are.
Well, we're also going to be talking about Sachin the man, and as Shaz has already told us, the two men who know him best. We have Harbhajan Singh with us, and we're going to be joined by Zahir Khan after this short break, and we're going to get them to spill the beans on what happens outside of the spotlight. You're with my Sachin here on Times Now.
And let's just jump across to the Radio Mirchi studios in Delhi. Akash is joining us with his team. What do you have in store for my Sachin?
You know, you guys, you know, this is what I have for you. Okay. You know, you guys are having a great time having those discussions there in the studio. But trust me, on the ground, the response that we are getting in, at least here on Radio Mirchi, nobody really cares whether Sachin's going to score 10 or he's going to score 100 or he's not even going to bat. What matters is the celebration really for this man. And everybody is so emotional about it. We have promos running, we have people calling in, we are playing 200 songs for Sachin here on Radio Mirchi. And as a matter of fact, there's a link coming up. I'm going over to Naved, our evening jock.
रेडियो मिर्ची 98.3 FM सुन रहे हैं. आज देख भी रहे हैं हिंदुस्तान. अब यूं तो वान खेड़े में कल हर प्रकार का इंसान खेलेगा और खेलेंगे प्लेयर्स भिन्न भिन्न, लेकिन कल भी उम्मीद ये है कि फोड़ के जाएगा अपना लौंडा सचिन.
Okay. Now we have a curious fan. Who's this?
All right, this is the world's biggest Sachin fan. His name is Vincent, and he's a little nervous right now because Sachin is going to leave cricket. So he's planned something that, he's a good Sachin impersonator. So, Vincent, do you want to do an impersonation?
Yeah, I want to.
All right, Vincent, give it your shot. Sachin impersonation.
Haila.
That was Sachin impersonator.
Okay, Jassi, tell me something. Sachin is internationally famous.
Yes.
What does Pam auntie from Canada have to say about Sachin?
Pam auntie from Canada would say, Sachin, tere varga mundiya mein kade vekhya hi nahi. Tomorrow when you bat, na meri eyes blink bhi nahi karni hai.
And Saima, at the end of the day, this is all about emotions also. And you capture emotions of people so beautifully in your show, Purani Jeans. Just take us through exactly what are the viewers, what are the callers telling you when they call up and when we talk about Sachin on the station?
Well, they are very emotional. They have just one line to say. Sachin, because of you, we started watching cricket. Tomorrow is the day when they are going to retire from cricket as well. So I think cricket is equal to Sachin.
All right, cricket equal to Sachin. And yes, it is an emotional moment, and yes, we would be very, very sorry to see Sachin go away, but in the meantime, it is a party, and for the next 5 days, all our eyes are going to be glued to the TV sets, giving score updates, and of course, having a gala time. And well, starting off that gala time, it's a bat. It's a Sachin celebration bat, which we'd like to cut. So,
well, Akash and gang, as you guys cut and enjoy that cake, we're going to just take it away from you and focus back on that momentous evening at Wankhede itself, isn't it, Tina?
Absolutely. These celebrations would not have been complete if this particular night had not happened in Sachin's career. Like we promised, Zahir Khan also joining us on the show. Now, Zach, Bajji's already told us about how you guys have had some great times off the field, how Sachin has mentored youngsters like you. He's also said he was a little nervous when he met Sachin for the first time. I know that's true in your case as well. Tell us about it.
Well, the first time I met Sachin was in '98. We were playing a club game for Time Shield, and everyone just put pressure on me saying, you have to call him sir, you have to give him respect. And the moment I met him, I realized that all these people were just talking rubbish. Like he's such a down-to-earth person. He instantly made me feel comfortable. Obviously, I had a bit of pace that time. Being a youngster trying to make it to the Indian team. He gave me some tips as well, he used to stand in first slip those days, and he would see me bowl closely, and then he would advise me how to put my wrist position and stuff, which is great. I mean, for a youngster like me coming up that time, it was a great boost of confidence, just to hear from the legend himself.
And all the way from there down to the point where you're winning a World Cup together. What memories, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And, let's bring in Harbhajan here also. World Cup 2011. It was a long wait for Sachin. How special was that for all of you, especially Sachin, Harbhajan?
Sorry, say again.
World Cup 2011, the win at the Wankhede. How special was that for all of you, especially Sachin? Tell us what happened, in the build-up to the final in the dressing room. What was Sachin's mood? Did he talk to all of you guys?
Well, as let me tell you, he's always been telling us, this is how the game should be played, and whenever we need any kind of guidance, we can go up to him and take his advice, and whether it's cricket or anything. But during the World Cup, we had a great camp in Bangalore. Then we all wanted to do something special for Sachin. He have done so much for Indian cricket, so we wanted to win the cup and give it to him, and exactly that's what happened. We played so well, as a team, and we just wanted to do this one for Sachin, and with the grace of God, everything happened. We won the cup and we lifted him on the shoulder. That was something really special, which I will never forget. Those moments, that we have done something for the special man. For India's son, we have done something now. So he was really proud. He had the tricolor in his hand. Waving the tricolor was something really special. Those memories are still very fresh and will always be.
Zach, how important was that World Cup victory for him? I'm sure he talked to you guys about it. He must have thought about it over the years. How important was it for him?
It was important for all of us in
Yes.
many ways. Obviously, World Cup being played in India was special, and that means extra pressure as well, on the home side. And we knew all that, and we stayed together as a team. We decided that we'll stay close, spend more time with each other. Not only on the field, obviously during the practices you get to spend more time, but even off the field as well. We were having dinners together and stuff like that, and all we would talk was how important the World Cup is and how important it is for us to win the World Cup. So those things add to the whole motivation, and just to win the World Cup. And as we went to the tournaments, we had some good games. I remember the England game was very crucial. Even though we scored a lot of runs, it came to a tie in the end. So those things kind of kept us going.
And I just want to ask one question, because if Otis Gibson was to give me a call today to put on my whites tomorrow to play in this match, this special match, I will. I want to ask Zahir Khan and Harbhajan Singh, if you get that call, I mean, you guys have spent all your careers playing with Sachin Tendulkar. Do you first of all feel you missing this occasion? And if you were given the call, would you be ready to play?
Of course I'm missing the occasion, and I was mentioning it to Sachin the other day when he played Ranji Trophy that interestingly all the milestones which he achieved, I was not part of the team.
Like which ones?
Be it 34th 100 or the 100th century which he made. And I was saying, I just realized when I was looking back, when he decided to hang his boots after the series, and I was thinking about it, and it just kind of struck me that whenever something big was happening to him, it was, or the milestone he was crossing, I was not part of the team. So I just said, okay, I'm lucky to play this first class game with him, and I happened to lead in that particular game, so that game was really special for me.
No, but you were there. World Cup 2011 victory, you were there. So something special, you were there. So you can't say that you've never been there, Zach. You got to
most of it. Let me rephrase it.
You got to say that. Harbhajan, yeah, will you be ready? Brian had this question for you too, so quickly.
Yes. Yes, definitely. You've given me the choice. Yes, I'll be there no matter what, how long it will take to reach there. I'll be there before the match gets started. If I given the opportunity, I would love to go and play with him and perform well for him. And I want him to see tomorrow or whenever he gets to bat, scoring that 100. And this is a great game. It's going to be the big one.
I have finished playing Test cricket 6-7 years ago, and this is the first time I feel like if I can put a wax back on.
Oh, well said.
We all wish the same. We wish we could see all of you do that. Now, we do have another special guest joining us here on the My Sachin show. He's a film star, but also importantly, a very, very big cricket and Sachin fan. Let's welcome Aftab Shivdasani.
He's not just a cricket fan, he also plays quite a bit of cricket. So we're going to have a good discussion.
I've seen him at the CCI actually.
Really?
Yeah. Have a seat.
Hi, thanks.
So Aftab, if we can start with you, we're talking about our greatest memories and moments of Sachin. You've watched cricket all your life. You've watched Sachin playing all your life. What stands out for you?
Well, I think it's difficult to pinpoint one, but I think the ultimate recognition would be the World Cup. I'm sure the other panelists would agree that winning the World Cup in his hometown, in his home country, and holding that cup after I think over 2 decades would be probably the biggest ever achievement for any cricketer who's representing his country.
How does it feel like having Brian Lara sit right next to you and you're talking about Sachin Tendulkar? Let the fans speak.
When I was Brian, I'm a huge fan of yours. I'm happy to see it on national television. My 2 favorite cricketers have been Sachin for obvious reasons, and of course Brian. And Brian, we miss you. I miss because I'm a lefty also, and I miss watching him play. Of course, it's incredible. It's incredible to be part of this occasion and to celebrate this man's beautiful over 2 decades glorious innings representing India. But it's a pleasure and an honor to be sitting with you, Brian.
And he's added a little more flavor. Tell us, what he just said. He said 6-7 years since I've stopped playing cricket. The first time I feel I want to get back in the whites is tomorrow at that 200th test of Sachin Tendulkar at the Wankhede. Time for us to go back to Radio Mirchi and our friends from Chennai. Vanakkam, Chennai. How is Chennai getting ready to say goodbye to Sachin and to celebrate the legend that is Sachin Tendulkar?
Welcome to the Chennai Mirchi studios. What you are about to witness can be termed as the 10th wonder of the world. This is our tribute to the legend Sachin Tendulkar. What we have performed right now is a beautiful contemporary postmodernistic art song, and the dancers dancing beside me are extremely talented and trained dancers and have been training for the past 15 years. So people who are suffering from any heart ailment or pregnant women, please take care while watching this video, as it is not for light hearts. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
We love you, Sachin. We miss you, Sachin. We love you, Sachin, 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 Sachin.
She's a trailblazer in her sport. She's married to a cricketer herself and she follows cricket, hence she's a big Sachin buff. Sania Mirza, thanks for joining us here on this very special effort. Sachin, finally bidding adieu to the game. If you could share some of your favourite moments, any one moment that stands out for you.
Enough to know Sachin for a long time and fortunate enough to play in the same era as him, a sport, and I think we've been very lucky that we've gotten to watch him live. My first and very special memory of him was when I won Junior Wimbledon and I came back and I was 16 and you know, Sachin actually, I think he signatured a Fiat Palio car and he had sent it across to Hyderabad, and you know, he spoke to me on the phone and congratulated me, and to me that was, for a 16-year-old, it was extremely inspiring and very special, and that's a very special memory for me.
Of course, must have felt wonderful. Now, like you said, you've known him for quite some time now. Can you tell us what quality puts him apart from everybody else? How's he carried himself as a sports person all these years?
I think that to do what he has done for 24 years, I think, you know, stay at the top of your game for this long and play at the highest level in any sport in the world is amazing, and I think that's an inspiration to all of us, and you know, not just emotionally and psychologically, but even physically, to maintain that for so many number of years is unbelievable. So you know, I think that no one wants Sachin to retire, but we have to accept it, and I wish him well in the next part of his life and an even more successful life if that's possible.
Well, we are all praying for that, isn't it, Sania? Now, if you could pick one favourite Sachin innings, I know there are plenty to choose from. Take your pick. What's the most special?
I think that it's kind of unfair to pick a favourite Sachin innings. In 24 years, I think it's very hard to pick one. There's a few. The one innings that I did watch live, he got out on 99 and they were playing against Pakistan and Mohali. And actually my husband was the captain in that match and I do remember that innings very, very well. But I think that he's played so many tremendous innings, but that one innings is in my head, obviously, for obvious reasons.
Sania Mirza, thank you so much for talking to us. We're going to take a very, very short break. Our guests are staying with us. We're also taking your calls. You can also come out and share with us your moment with Sachin. Write to us, call us, talk to us. Join you after a very short break.
Sachin might have put the brakes on his cricketing career, but Sunit Chakravarti has no such ideas of taking his foot off the gas. Sunit, who is on a mission to create awareness among drivers, has got a host of celebrities to sign in his car, including the master, Sachin Tendulkar.
আজকে যাচ্ছি সেটা হচ্ছে এখান থেকে সরাসরি যাব সচিন তেন্ডুলকারের কাছে 199 কিলোমিটারের লাস্ট টেস্ট। আমরা দুর্গাপুরবাসী বর্ধমান ডিস্ট্রিক্টের প্রত্যেকটা মানুষের হয়ে এই শুভেচ্ছা তাকে দিতে যাব 199 কিলোমিটার পিছন দিকে তাকে। তার একটাই উদ্দেশ্য, আমি যদি পিছন দিকে গাড়ি চালিয়ে বিনা দ্বিধায় যেতে পারি, সোজা রাস্তায় অ্যাক্সিডেন্ট হওয়াই উচিত।
Sunit, who drove his car in reverse from Kolkata to Burdwan, has already raised awareness. And with the Master Blaster stamp on his vehicle, hopes to grab attention and create more awareness. Sunit is clearly on a mission.
Welcome back. And even as we are celebrating Sachin and my Sachin, there's somebody from our team who's keeping close tabs on what the little master's up to on the eve of his 200th test. Harini Rana, our chief cricket correspondent, joins us live at this point. Harini, what is Sachin doing? What did he do at the nets today?
He's pretty much aware of the special occasion that he is coming out to bat. It is going to be his farewell inning, so he keeping all the distractions away. He pretty much focused business as usual for Sachin at the nets, but he did have some special guests visiting him. Some of the senior BCCI officials, including the BCCI president, did meet up Sachin, and Sachin spent some time, apart from of course practicing and getting the usual drills in. He spent a lot of time with the Mumbai Wankhede groundsmen. In fact, who presented him with a special memento, and he did click pictures with them. So he is pretty much aware of the enormity of this occasion when there are emotions flying high at this point of time, but he is keeping himself away from all the distractions, trying to put up his best practice, and of course trying to get in the best possible way that he is ready for this farewell test.
Now, Harini, we saw such a huge deal made by Kolkata. How is the Mumbai Cricket Association planning to go one up on that?
Well, what we do know is that there are a lot of memorabilia and of course special mementos that are going to be on sale for a lot of fans. There will be Sachin Tendulkar mask which will be presented to each and every fan who will enter the ground with the ticket shown, and a special book that will be published on Sachin Tendulkar that will also be given to fans who have tickets on them when they enter the stadium. In fact, the whole of Wankhede Stadium, the top of the rim of the stadium, is going to be covered by pictures of Sachin Tendulkar's test century, along with huge cutouts of Sachin being present around the vicinity of Wankhede Stadium, and a huge bat is going to be placed just right outside the two dressing rooms where fans can write in their messages and of course pay their tribute to the little master. So there are a lot of festivities that have been lined up by the Mumbai Cricket Association, but of course everything will happen before toss as well, where BCCI will present the little master with a memento. Kapil Sibal will be present with the envelope that is going to be launched, and MCA will be inaugurating or launching that gold coin with which the toss is going to take place.
Harini, one more question. Has the team planned a surprise ahead of the game, or are they all saving it for once the test gets over?
Well, what we do know is that team is looking to present Sachin Tendulkar with any surprise which will only be after the test match. They are aware that this is the final test, but they want to ensure that Sachin enjoys this final 5 days of international cricket that they are going to spend with him, and all of the festivities or all the plans the team is of course speaking about amongst themselves, but all of that will only happen once the test match does conclude. But we do expect the Indian team to have a special farewell for Sachin Tendulkar. It could be a dinner, and it could also be a gift that they are planning to give, but everything will be only known after the test match ends.
All right, Harini, we'll look forward to chatting with you tomorrow morning at the Wankhede as well, just as we count down to the beginning of the 200th test match. Now, we've been talking to all the fans out there, all our viewers, to talk to us about their Sachin moment. We're also going to go across to Bhopal now, where our friends from Radio Mirchi are standing by. Over to you.
टीना भाई, रेडियो मिर्ची 98.3 एफएम के भोपाल स्टेशन में इस वक्त आप लोग हैं, और क्या लपक के गर्मा गर्म एनर्जी हो रखी है बॉस।
आज भोपाल की ये जबरदस्त टीम, छोटे असलम साबरी जी और साथ में उनका साबरी ग्रुप भी।
नाम सचिन तेंदुलकर जिनका है भारत की शान, गावस्कर और कपिल देव धोनी की है जान, तो तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं, तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं, तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं, तेरे जैसा कोई। सचिन तेंदुलकर तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं, तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं, तेरे जैसा कोई। सचिन तेंदुलकर तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं, तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं, तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं, तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं। शान भारत की बढ़ाई तूने, शान भारत की बढ़ाई तूने, शान भारत की बढ़ाई तूने, देश की लाज बचाई तूने, तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं, तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं, तेरे जैसा कोई। सचिन तेंदुलकर तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं, तेरे जैसा कोई। सचिन तेंदुलकर तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं, तेरे जैसा कोई। क्यों तेरे नाम के हैं चर्चे, तेरा नाम हर जगह है। तेरे नाम के हैं चर्चे, तेरा नाम हर जगह है। अभी तुझसे मिलता जुलता कोई दूसरा नहीं है। सचिन तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं, तेरे जैसा तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं, तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं, तेरे जैसा वाह जैसा कोई नहीं। सचिन तेंदुलकर, सचिन
Awesome, awesome. इसे कहते हैं एकदम भोपाली अंदाज में हम झमाझम परफॉर्मेंस।
एब्सोल्युटली, ये इसे हम भोपाली अंदाज में सुभान अल्लाह भी कहते हैं। और सचिन, ये पूरे के पूरे भोपाल, कोलार, जहांगीराबाद, रोशनपुरा, बैरागढ़ की तरफ से हम सब सचिन को कहना चाहते हैं कि
हम आपसे बहुत मोहब्बत करते हैंगे। थैंक यू टीना, बाय बाय।
It was a moment to cherish and a gift to remember. As Sachin Tendulkar received a Ferrari from Formula One great Michael Schumacher. Once the Masters prized possession, now in the hands of Jayesh Desai, a businessman from Surat in Gujarat, as Sachin sold his Ferrari to Desai.
जो दूसरी कार चलाने में और ये कार चलाने में एक अलग फीलिंग्स होते हैं। और ये सूरत के रोड पे जो कार निकलती है तो सब अलग नज़रिए से देखते हैं। और कार जो खड़ी रहती है तो लोग देखने के लिए जो उमड़ पड़ते हैं।
Racing down the streets of Surat, making heads turn and grabbing the eyeballs. Jayesh surely had his moment with the Master Blaster and a moment to revere upon.
Let's now go across to Harbhajan Singh and Zahir Khan, two people who even Ravi Shastri said know Sachin Tendulkar better than he does. So Harbhajan, any other instances along with video car racing, what else off the field? Was Sachin also a prankster like you are?
Yes, of course. He's also a human being and and quite a prankster. When it comes to his own friends, where he's comfortable, he's a prankster.
24 long years, you know what it takes. What does it take really to not just be at world-class top level, but to do that for almost a quarter of a century?
I think how he's separated himself from the field is important, and that hunger to stay at the top. It's something that's, it's easy to get to the top. It's harder to stay up there. And he dedicated a lot of his time, a lot of his energy in being the best player in the world for 2 decades.
Yes.
And that is an amazing achievement. I mean, I can't even relate to it. I mean, I had a short period. I mean, we're talking about this guy was playing cricket at the age of 16.
Yeah.
I was just fighting up to get into Trinidad and Tobago under 19 team at 16. He was already stacking up his test career. But at 18 years old, I've made 40 runs against Ambrose, and the whole crowd clapped me. He has already gone 2 years of international cricket.
Right.
That is amazing, and to do that for 24 years.
So it's that hunger and also that work ethic, which has lasted him that long. Do you think, Zach, he's going to apply that same sort of hunger and work ethic into the roles he's now going to play post-retirement? First and foremost, he's a parliamentarian now. What do you think?
Well, he's a perfectionist. So whatever he does, he's gonna do it perfectly. Otherwise, he won't do it. I mean, that's the way he goes about it. Like if he's into something, he'll make sure that he does it thorough. So that's the way he's approached everything in life, and especially with cricket. We all know that talent is something which can take you a distance, but to go really far, you need discipline, and that's what he had. Like I cannot recall a single incident when the bus is waiting for him to come. He's always been there for practices, for matches. He's always been there on time. and the way he approached his game, cricket has always been priority, and everything came secondary to him. So
what I'm curious is about the inside information. Let's ask Harbhajan and Zahir that. Harbhajan, what is Sachin going to do next? Can you tell our viewers? Can you tell us, please? What has he told? Has he shared his plans?
No, to be honest, last 10 to 15 days I have not spoken to him, because I want him to be in that zone where he's playing his last 2 games, and just want him to, be very, very focused, because I know a lot of things are happening around him and with his 200 test matches. But honestly, as Zach said, whatever he'll do after retirement, he'll still do the best, because he knows what he's gonna do, and he'll not do anything which he won't be able to do it the way he want to do it. So knowing him, if he'll decide to do something, he'll do it the way he has played the game, with all the hard work, with all the respect what he have got, he'll do it that way.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, Aftab, as a fan, how would you want to see him over the next few years? What kind of roles do you want to see him play? What would you like for him now?
See, I think he'd be the best person to answer this question, but as someone who's watched him for the past 2 decades, I would love to see him associated with cricket. And obviously, like Zach said, he's a perfectionist with anything that he does. So whatever he does decide to do now, he will do it with 100% commitment. But I'm sure he's going to feel some sort of a void after the 18th. He's going to miss, obviously, the past 24 years of his life. But I would first of all like to see him spend more time with his family.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that Brian would also agree that you get to spend a lot of time away from your near and dear ones. And I think this is something that he'd want to make up for initially. I think he's got a long time to decide what he wants to do. But I'm sure that he'd want to be associated with the game, and because he's a legend. In cricket, he's a legend. Like, you can't have a cricket team in the world's best without a Brian or a Sachin Tendulkar. So I think I'm sure he'd want to be associated with the game and carry on being the inspiration in the most dignified way as possible.
Arjun Tendulkar, some tough times for you. Khan ke saath bahut kuch dadda padne wala hai abhi.
If in any way he disassociates from the game, it would be a great disservice.
I think we all would be heartbroken along with
allow him to do
millions of other people.
But I doubt that would happen. He would always remain associated with the game.
Wait, here's my wish list. Being at times now, we would like to talk cricket with Brian Lara and Sachin Tendulkar right here in the studio. How would that be? I'm sure all of you guys would want to do.
I have just one request. I'd like to be on that. Have to just sit and watch also.
Brian, closing comments, anything you want to say to Sachin right here on the show?
Sachin, I expect you to pay a visit to Trinidad and Tobago. You have not been for the last 2 tours, and my countrymen wants to celebrate your career as well. Have a great day. Have a great 5 days at the Wankhede Stadium, and you've been such a great friend. Thank you.
Well, on that note, we're going to end this very, very special effort. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for writing in. Thanks for sending in all those entries. And to all our guests, including Harbhajan Singh, Ravi Shastri, thank you so much for joining us on this very special effort. My Sachin. Bye for now.